Katniss Everdeen is the protagonist of the book and movie series The Hunger Games. She is a very strong adolescent who lives in a very dysfunctional community. Her district participates in what's called the Hunger Games, in which 2 members of each district are sent to fight to the death as a way for the capital to control the districts. Throughout the series, Katniss becomes the symbol for the rebellion which fights against the capital and fights for their freedom. Her passion as an adolescent seems to be what drives her to be the symbol for the rebellion. Even though she knows what she is doing is risky, she uses the emotional, automatic part of her brain to fight for what she knows is right. After watching the video on teens and what makes them tick, it is obvious that Katniss falls into the categories of influencer and edge kid. She is an influencer because she is who everyone follows, but an edge kid because she delves away from the norms of society. I believe the reason she led the rebellion so well was because of her titles as an influencer and edge kid. She was the person who everyone believed in, the person who everyone knew would be their savior. In reference to the article on exposure to community violence, suicidality, and psychological distress, Katniss reveals all of these symptoms. Her entire life she's exposed to violence and participates very diligently in it. Her entire district is destroyed and she leads the rebellion with force. According to the article, it appears that living in a setting where the occurrence of violence is frequent may lead to stress-related emotional problems, including depressive symptomatology and maladaptive coping responses. Katniss also has suicidal ideologies, including almost eating poisonous berries in order to rebel against the capital, and after the death of her sister, she goes into a long depressive state. Katniss also has PTSD from her experiences in the games. She has recurring nightmares about the games even just after her first experience in them. She then goes on to participate in even more traumatic and harmful events, and after this is surely more likely to experience other PTSD symptoms as well. As a social worker, I would want to know how her father's death affected her when she was young, her sister's death as she got older, and the deaths of all her friends as she participated in the games and in the rebellion, including her mentors. I would also want to know how her experiences in the games affected her, and how her PTSD affects her daily life. Even in this picture, you can see that she has to repeat certain things to remind herself who she is and what she's been through. This is one way that PTSD affects her life every day. I would also want to know what her experiences were like when she was suicidal, because this is a really important and crucial part of her life. Next, I would want to know how she feels about the termination of her close friendships, such as Gail, who she stopped being friends with due to some personal reasons with her sister. Finally, I would want to know any other things that have caused stress in her life, and how they have affected her emotionally, physically, and psychologically.